I am seeing five. I will message you, right? Because I'm seeing
Okay.
five. You sent me the video too.
Yeah, was a YouTube
And
video.
right, it have yes,
Better
you
questions too?
sent some questions too, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So I thought like it was like for I to answer them or something like that.
No, I didn't reply as yet.
Yes, because I thought that it was for I to answer them.
Oh no, I was asking you if the definition and the steps was correct.
The
And you said
definition
I
of
get
the
back to me.
steps, the
Yeah.
definitions of the steps was correct. So it was just a matter of you just putting everything together.
Okay.
Yes, like and I think somebody had a confusion thinking that the water treatment and the dialysis treatment goes into like is two different things. Like okay,
Mm-hmm.
when you all are doing the water treatment system, you all everything going into one, right? So I want to read something with you for you guys. And well, Dr. Michael he didn't send it to you all, but this is the water system handout that Dr. Michael a water system handout that Dr. Michael did. So I'll read it to you. And if you all want to take it to me, so I'm going to start. Everybody hearing
Yeah.
me?
Yes,
Everybody
ma'am.
hear? Okay.
Yes, miss.
In order to understand how hemodialysis is performed, it is important to understand that the blood in end-stage renal patients, which is loaded with toxins, especially urea and creatinine, has to be purified. It is also important to remember that we had previously spoken about bad things found in blood which will diffuse into the dialysate fluid which contain good things. This forms the basis of the purification of the blood in the patient suffering from chronic renal failure. It is available in various formulations and concentration dilution ratios. It can come in liquid powder form and can be placed at the point of use at the dialysis station or prepared in a separate area and centrally delivered to the dialysis station. We will discuss in another lecture more details about dialysis. At this point, it is important to understand that the interaction between blood and dialysis is the basis of hemodialysis. We have spoken about purified water. Now let's speak about how water is purified. Step 1. Coagulation. Coagulation removes dirt and other particles suspended in water. Alum, which is aluminum sulfate, and other particles, chemicals, is responsible for this coagulation. The suspended matter coagulate and form a flux, which consists of sticky tiny particles. The combined weight of the dirt and alum becomes heavy enough to sink to the bottom during sedimentation. What alum really does is coagulate the particulate matter to form larger particles. When rain falls, the rainwater runs through the hills and picks up calcium and magnesium elements which are contained with limestone. This rainwater is then treated by WASA to remove the flux as noted above. In order to commence the process of purification, this process of the removal of flux is called flocculation. The drinking water treatment, flocculation. The water flows into a tank with paddles that provide slow mixing and bring the small particles together to form larger particles called flux. Mixing is done quite slowly and gently in the flocculation step. At WASA, after flocculation, the water is filtered and chlorine added to kill any bacteria in the water. After this flocculation and chlorinization process at WASA, the water is then distributed to the general public. At the dialysis center, This water is generally stored in water tanks of various sizes. This tank water then enters the water treatment system designed for that particular dialysis unit and is then subjected to a multimedia filtration system. This multimedia filtration system consists of a large tank. Various substances, as shown below, are placed in this tank in layers. The water then percolates through the media and then goes through these various layers of the media. The water goes through various layers of the media in various sequences. Vegetative matter such as tiny leaves and other suspended matter are trapped in this multimedia gravel, sand, and other materials, which are the first layer, which is the top, is anthracite. The second layer is filter sand number 0.045 to 0.55. The third layer is garnet number 50. The fourth layer is garnet number 12. And the bottom layer is gravel 1/4 inch by 1/8 inch. So remember when I was telling you all this last week, when I told you all that I will find it for you to ensure that you all get the exact 5 layers and the measurements of the 5 layers. Well, this is it. The heavy particles goes through the above sequence from top to bottom. The lightest destiny, which is anthracite, traps the heaviest material to be filtered, and then the layers 2 to 5 continue the filtration process in sequence. After flocculation, the water is filtered at Wassa and also chlorinated in order to remove bacteria. After continuous use, the multimedia is plugged with debris. In order to clean the filter, the flow of water is reversed so that instead of going down the tank from the top to the bottom, the reverse flow goes from bottom to the top, thereby cleaning out all the particles that were trapped by the multimedia system. This is a process which washes the various components of the multimedia system and is referred to as a backwash of the tank. So let me pause right there. When we talk about the backwash of the tank, so you hear when they talk about, remember after that filter, you'll be getting dirt and stuff like that. So you need to wash this out because it will cause endotoxins and something called biofilm. So if you open your normal drinking tank, right? And you pass your finger on this side, anybody ever do that and you feel like a kind of slime? Or even in a bucket of water that there for long?
Yes, Mrs. Feel a little slimy.
Right, so that is called biofilm, right? And you don't want that to build up. So although the water filtering and this biofilm could build up in the tank. So you need to have a backwash system so that it wouldn't build up. So you have a backwash system, right? The backwashed water then goes down a drain. There are 2 ways in which this backwash process can function. Firstly, the whole process may be timed according to predetermined specifications, or more practically, the water can be visually inspected to ensure that there is no remaining obvious contaminants. The incoming water is backwashed until it is clean. Step 3, the clean water then enters the softener tank. The softener tank contains a sodium-based ion exchange resin, which undergoes cation exchange of calcium and magnesium with the sodium. When the sodium on the resin is used up, more sodium has to be added for the process to continue. The system contains a brine tank in which water is saturated with mineral salt. Mineral salt is really sodium chloride. And so there is a continuous replacement of this sodium chloride, which allows the softening process to continue. In reality, the resin is consistently coated with fresh sodium. So is the salt what everybody does eat. So right through they'll be filling up the brine tank, that they're standing next to the softener tank, right? For that whole chemical exchange to continue to go. And if you taste it, it'll be real, like, oh my gosh, real salty. Like, I feel like that salt even stronger than the salt we just use, but they say it's table salt.
Afternoon, miss.
Okay, everybody. Everyone hearing me?
Yes, miss.
Yes,
Okay.
miss.
So I stopped at sodium, right? Where it is constantly coated with fresh sodium. So just like how the multimedia tank have a backwash system, the softener tank also have a backwash system. And it would be really great that you all mention the backwash system when doing your essays.
Yes, excuse, just confirming that the backwash system is take about 60 minutes per session, right?
Yes, an hour.
Right.
That is true.
You know,
That's true because
resin, they use
yeah,
resin for fishes as well too, right? Discuss fish. They
I'm
use
not
that
telling you.
system. They use that system for discuss fish.
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay, so like the multimedia tank, when the resin is exhausted, it is backwashed and regenerated. In reality, whatever particulate matter is trapped in the resin needs to be backwashed and the resin needs to be broken up. To understand more clearly, during the multimedia process, all very tiny particles may not have been removed. Therefore, during this softener process, these tiny particles from the multimedia tank can stick onto the resin and form a pancake-like structure. This pancake structure is then washed out from the tank during the backwash process. So that's like the biofilm, right? During this process also, the resin is loosened and the tiniest particles that are dislodged from the resin are also washed out with this pancake-like structure. This water then goes to a drain and it therefore should not be any surprise that after several years, the resin bed has to be replaced by fresh resin. The calcium and magnesium from the original limestone from the mountains are also removed. If not removed, they will form calcium and magnesium carbonate that can clog up the water system. So you see how important it is to mention from the beginning when rain falls that it have the calcium and magnesium and limestone in the water.
Miss, excuse, someone
Yes.
is in the waiting room.
No one is in the waiting room.
Faith, she just messaged and told me that she waiting.
Okay, I'm going to check it out. Okay. Okay, I'm seeing her is joining now. Okay. So step 4, the water then goes to 2 carbon tanks. The first carbon tank is called the worker and the second carbon tank is called the polisher. The carbon tank each contain a bed of activated charcoal. This activated charcoal acts like a magnet which attracts the chlorine and chloramine solutions to it. This process is called adsorption. That is, The chlorine and chloramine adsorbs, not absorbs, adsorbs to the structure of the carbon. Activated charcoal consists of carbon. The carbon tanks are also backwashed in order to improve the performance of the tank and drained. The reason for the use of 2 carbon tanks instead of 1 is that the first tank, which is the worker tank, will remove most of the chlorine, but in order to ensure the removal of the chlorine and the chloramine, the second tank comes in, which is the polisher, to avoid any possible chlorine breakthrough that will go to the reverse osmosis membrane. The second tank is also able to act as a backup for such eventualities. I must remind you that the chlorine that is used by WASA to sanitize the water must be removed in order to avoid damage to dialysis patients. Under no circumstances must dialysis be conducted without at least 1 working carbon tank. Because, you know, the chlorine have to get removed, right? And if you dialyze somebody and have chlorine in the water, they will get some black blood syndrome and hemolysis. They start to feel sick, right? Some systems use an ultraviolet light. The water from the carbon tank flows to the ultraviolet system, which is designed to kill bacteria. In this system, some systems utilize the UV system in order to ensure complete destruction of bacteria. Since there is no longer any chlorine that could kill the bacteria, when bacteria are killed with UV light, the cell wall dies and can form endotoxins. If the UV system is used, it is recommended that the ultrafilter be employed to remove endotoxins, which is the RO membrane acts as an ultrafilter. And once the UV light is used before the RO during treatment, if in the event that the UV light is used after the RO, as with direct feed, then a physical ultrafilter has to be placed after the UV light. Ideally, the monitor should be in place to monitor and bandwidth of the UV wavelength and light intensity. So remember when I was telling you guys last week about using the UV light, and when you use the UV light after the pump, when you kill the endotoxins, it will still be within the water. Anybody remember that?
Yes, miss.
Nice. So that's what they're talking about there. Step 6. The water then goes to the most critical part of the water system. That is the reverse osmosis system. In the reverse osmosis system, a pump forces the incoming water across the semi-permeable membrane, resulting in large quantity of water being produced on the product side. The water coming in from the pre-RO treatment is the feed water. The product water is essentially free of all contaminants, chemical, bacteria, and endotoxins, that is, on the other side of the membrane. The product water, as said, is on the side of the membrane that will continue for water purification in dialysis. However, the side of the water that brought incoming water from the UV system will now be drained of water with use of the pump, leaving behind the contaminants. This water containing the contaminants is called reject water and has to be rejected. The reject water is then sent down a drain. The water from the RO in some systems can go to a deionizer. The deionizer works as a final polisher in some systems. Using a mixed bed deionizer, the process is based on ion exchange, but many systems do not use a deionizer, since the RO system efficiently removes all unwanted material and toxins, including endotoxins. The purified water then uses direct feed or indirect feed. In the direct feed system, the water from the RO or the deionizer goes directly to the dialysis machines via a continuous loop. The machines does not utilize all the water, and so the water that the machine does not use goes back almost in a circle back to the RO machine or the deionizer. In this way, the water circulating continuously form a loop because it gets purer and purer every passage. In the indirect field system, the RO or the deionizer goes first to a storage tank. The shape of, or which is a bowl-shaped tank, the water leaves the storage tank, goes to the machine, then to the loop and back to the storage tank. The reason for the tank being bowl-shaped is to allow a complete drainage of the tank during the cleaning of the tank. The water, after going to the machine, returns to the tank and the process starts again. After it leaves the tank, it must go through an endotoxin filter alone to remove any possible remaining endotoxins, or the use of a UV endotoxin combination to remove endotoxins. So, did you all even get that handout?
No, miss.
No.
But it
Miss,
is
I check
easier,
my
and
email. I see about 3 handouts come. I check and see where it is as yet.
today, because I
Mm-hmm.
thought,
Yeah, this
Well,
but it's
afternoon
not
they coming
in
late. One have
because
4
I
pages and one have 41 pages.
the one with 4 pages, that might be the water one. Somebody could check it. Just let me see. Okay, they send me also,
no.
I think. No, they said I saw the basic concepts of hemodialysis.
Yeah, that's the same thing that was sent.
Yeah. I only got one. And it have principle of renal dialysis 1 and 2.
Yeah, the part two was sent.
Okay, well, they were supposed to send you all
We would have received the first one earlier.
okay, so I will send
Mm.
what I just read. Someone asked, everybody wants it. Because now if you realize
Just want it.
if you realize it never mentioned anything about booster pump or temperature blending valve or anything like that, right? But it was well detailed. I already admitted them. Yes. So this is why I'm saying, even if you forget the blending valve and stuff like that, it's okay and you'll still get your marks. Once you speak about all the main tanks, I will say, and you have to start off from when the rain falls and collects the limestone and stuff like that. Who is admin? Who joined as admin? Okay. Please, students, when you're joining, use your full name, because they do a readout on the tutorial to see the attendance, who attends and who don't attend. Okay. So you all did the different types of dialyzers and stuff. this handout, principles of renal dialysis, with the membranes and the membrane types and stuff like that. You all read it? Because to me it was sent a while back.
The principles of dialysis one.
Yeah. Katya, and you're breaking up.
Yeah, if it's the principles of dialysis one you talk about, yeah, I would have read it.
Okay, so how many people read the principles of renal dialysis 1?
Yes, Miss, I read it as well.
Can I have a
Yes,
raise
miss.
of
I read it,
hands?
miss.
Can I have a raise of hands? There are 52 students here. Okay, so I have 10, 11 people that read the hand.
Excuse me, what was the question?
I asked for by a raise of hands to see how many students read the principles of renal dialysis 1. And then have dialysate 1 and 2. Did you all go to dialysate 1 and 2? Okay, so we had 14 students that read. So everyone can lower their hand now. How many students read dialysate 1 and 2?
I read it, Miss.
A raise of hands.
Miss, I reach halfway in that
Dialysate
one.
1 and 2.
Going to raise my hands and I don't know what's going on here.
That is nothing. I was still counting.
Yeah, I'm
seeing
trying to and I don't know what's going on for dialysis 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's dialysate 1 and 2. I think it have 18 pages. Does I have not 18 pages or something? So, right?
Yes.
Yes. So I have the correct handout also. Well, you all have, okay, so we have 14 people, right? So what's going on with the rest of people? I would like to try again to reach out to the students that actually having problems, right? You all, what are the issues? Is it memory? Is it that you all don't understand because some of the words are confusing? What is it? So I know you all work with your groups, right? And I would like to encourage group work because group work always helps, right? Because there's always somebody there to help. And even though I know some people say that, I rather work by myself, it's not my memory, or I just can't work with people, try it, because if you get in trouble, right, or you get in problems, it's have me, you don't want to message me. I can't force anyone to message me, right? But you know that you are having problems, you need help, there is your group members, there is me, and there is Dr. Michael, there is Dr. Legion. So you don't have they don't the shame about if you know that, well, okay, I can't read some things properly and stuff like that. It have no shame in asking for help. Because we are always here. I had a student that she couldn't read properly at all. And she passed her exam. She passed in her 70s, but she passed nonetheless. Okay, so I want to go through the handout. Principles of renal dialysis. 1. Everyone has that handout with them. To the people that has problems with their memory, try doing try reading first. But when you're reading, take it, okay, one batch at a time. Like example, the handout that I'm speaking about, we have membranes is the first topic, right? So you speak about semi-permeable membrane. You read out your paragraph and you try to see the main sentence. So what is the main topic, the main idea of this sentence, right? And you will know like that, well, that will be your definition because that's the main idea of the sentence, right? And that's what it is about of the and then you'll see they talk about a semi-permeable membrane and what it is like. So they compared it to something. So try doing like that. So you read first, you try to understand what the paragraph is about, and then you write. You write what you understand about it. So everyone could lower their hands. Anybody have any questions?
Excuse.
Yes.
We saw that they send more handouts today, right?
Yeah.
Oh, is it that, well, I have it open on the laptop. Is it that the 40-page one is a compilation of the last three, or is it this is a new total one? Because as I said,
What, a 40-page handout?
yeah,
Wait. What's the name of the handout?
41 to be exact.
41. Yeah, I told that where
Principles
it have everybody kind well, me, I real bummy because renal dialysis too, I believe that's what name. Yeah,
Principles of renal
Yeah.
dialysis too, just now.
Miss, that's a
Okay,
compilation of the dialysate 1 and 2 as well.
and we got basic concepts of hemodialysis. We got 3. Well, I believe they send one twice, I believe, because we get
I
3
feel
emails.
so.
We get 3 emails. So principles of renal dialysis, DT4003, with the cannulation camp, that is 1. And the other one is I thought you didn't know that we got new handouts today.
I didn't know this, so I just was this handout, so I now went and opened my email and looked for it. So I
Yeah,
seen it here.
yeah. So it
It has 38.
No, it have a compilation of the handout that I was now asking if you all had the dialysis 1 and 2.
all right. So they want us to, it
No,
not
they
as
probably just
not as
send it over.
confusing.
I
Is it?
believe that they just send it over just
I think
to
it's
show
my
that.
review.
No, the first one is only 19 pages. This one is 40. That is how we want to know. Like if one
No,
was
there's like they
blurry
send over everything. They send over everything, I believe. It look
in
like to me,
one.
it look like they send
Excuse
over
me.
everything. Excuse?
Is the one with the 40-something page on
Yes.
page 36 have the water system and
You see?
hemodialysis.
This is what, yes,
I'm
I
not
know
watching
see
through.
here. I have it right.
Yeah.
You're right. So remember, I was telling you guys that, I talked to them and tell them, send, so look, you all
Sarah,
have
could you
it.
give me like a summary or something? I just finished 10 pages.
A summary, is all the handouts. So from what I am seeing, this 40-page handout is all the handouts compiled together for this last exam here. So
That's
what Dr. Michael probably did, or well, because what we was doing today, I was trying to get him to get everything together for you guys, because I don't like how some people like all over the place, you understand? Because water system is not the only thing, and you all have exam next week, right? Yes, you all did dialyzers, but how much you really doing dialyzers, right? And how much do you understand? What do
Miss,
you
excuse,
understand? Yes. But yes,
Miss, that part of the class with the social worker, we getting tested on that?
with the what?
The social worker.
Who is that?
It had a social worker in class this week, yeah, last Saturday.
Miss Anne?
No,
Yes, she meant the woman came and talked about the psychosocial effects of dialysis on a patient.
Oh,
A lecturer from New Jersey.
yeah.
So she wants to know if we were gonna get quizzed on what she taught us that hour that she was there, about the effects that it has on patients, the eating habits and all these things. That's what she mean.
Yes, you just get tested on it, but I don't think that will be in this dialysis exam, right? And then you are okay in that 40, you see that 40-page handout, where you see that
All the questions
the
you
last set
wanna
of
ask?
pages where I will say that the dialysate 1 and 2, where they have with what is an acid, what is a base, what is a pH, the buffer. You all need to
Yeah.
know the meaning of these words, right? That's why I said you read your topics and do definitions. So I was going to go through.
Just before
Yes,
I continue,
excuse me.
sorry. On the last on that email, they did put revised. So I think the second one is the correct one.
Okay.
And also to the back of that 40 page, as one of my friend told me, it have where Mr. Wazir will be coming in on Saturday and showing visual pictures of the water treatment system, and we'll go more in depth into the explanation.
Okay, so that's just like what I read for you all. Nice.
Yep.
And Mr. Wazir. When you hear Mr. Wazir speaking, just get a clearer view. Because he doesn't normally go through with the booster pump and stuff like that. See all the hemodialysis process.
We did what is hemodialysis with Dr. Lejean the same day we got her handout.
Okay. So you all can explain the entire hemodialysis process, like what it is from where the patient gets an access, and the blood is drawn from the access through negative pressure, and then it goes to the pump and the pressure turns positive, and then it goes to the dialyzer. You all did that?
Yes, miss, we did that.
And
Nice.
the types of dialysis plates and stuff like that, we went through that.
Okay, so that's why I wanted to go through that handout with you guys. So anybody can tell me the types of membranes that dialyzer membranes that there are? You all have your handouts? What is a semi-permeable membrane?
Semi-permeable membrane is
Semi-permeable, Donovan.
what I tongue, miss. That is
Yeah, sorry.
that is medium, I believe it's medium to micro. That's in terms of filtration.
Miss, and to separate the dial.
Okay. I don't catch my bad, sorry. Semi-permeable is when certain things could pass through, but not everything. Permeable is when everything could pass through.
Yes, that's the meaning of semi-permeable. Semi-permeable means that it's like a sieve. I understand. Anybody else want to tell me what is a semi-permeable? What is a semi-permeable membrane? It's right there on page 1. Okay, so a semi-permeable membrane is a membrane that has a lot of microscopic pores, right? And the membrane is semi-permeable because it only allows certain solutes and electrolytes and water to pass through.
This which handout you're reading from? I have three
I
in
know.
front of me.
Principles of renal dialysis 1.
Okay. I'm on the wrong one. Okay.
Okay, so from page 1. What's the difference between high efficiency and high flux? What is the difference between high efficiency and high flux dialysis?
High efficiency is I mix it up, miss. High efficiency is medium to small, and high flux is the larger ones.
Yes, but Donovan, you cannot give that as an answer.
What was the question, Sarah?
What is the difference between high efficiency and high flux dialysis? Or what is the difference between a high efficiency dialyzer and a high flux dialyzer?
The high efficiency is a dialyzer, has a high urea clearance.
Yes, so and what is the high flux?
It has larger pores, larger
I'm
holes.
listening, I'm waiting for an answer.
Yes, does it have larger holes or
Excuse?
larger pores?
No, not really. It's not that it have larger holes.
It removes a
No.
wider it removes a wider range of stuff. I guess.
Yes, okay, so this is what, right? So this is why we're going through this, right? So your answer is right there. When you look at high efficiency dialysis, you say it uses a membrane that is more permeable to low and middle molecular weight solutes. That first sentence right there, if you all have a highlighter, a pencil, a pen, you can underline it, right? So high efficiency dialysis uses a membrane that is more permeable to low and middle molecular weight solutes. The dialyzer has a high urea clearance. You could, if you
Miss, which
want,
part
you
of
could.
the handout that is?
That's the first page, darling. Yeah, this not the handout. What this now sends to you all, right? Because the handout, that 40-page handout, is all these kind of handouts combined. So I'm using the handout that they sent to you all before. Principles of Renal Dialysis 1.
That is the handout that everybody thought was blurry, miss. And a lot of people had difficulty reading it.
Well,
No,
my
there's not the
handout
handout
says
with the man, no. There's not the handout with the man, no. Wait, I'm
That is
going
what
to.
we have.
April the
Okay, wait.
24th, look for the handout where it is a send for the hemodialysis book. That is the file next date.
That is not the handout.
Okay, you all want me to just put it up on my screen?
yes, miss, because I not seen that in the handout that I'm watching here.
Yeah.
Just give me one minute, right? Let me get it.
Yeah,
Because I
principles
have
of
it.
renal
I have
dialysis
it in a
one.
printout, but I know I have it on my computer here also, right? Dialysate 1 and dialysate 2.
Yes, it's on the email where they said read chapter 6 and 8 on April 24th. You were correct.
Principles of renal dialysis. Next. That's part 2. Okay. Now I can't find it in my email. What date was it? 26th?
No, it's the 24th of April.
24th of April. Okay, I have it here. Yeah.
So I'm gonna just forward it back to you.
I have it here. The screen sharing. So it's this one. You'll see it?
Yes.
I had my
Yes.
handouts printed out, so I had to go back in my email and get it back. Okay, so where I was, what I was speaking about is the
High
answer is here.
efficiency.
So you see when I pull up the 2 on my screen, you'll see high efficiency dialysis uses a membrane that is more permeable to low and middle molecular weight solutes. The dialyzer has a high urea clearance. Right, so that there would be would be an answer. Well, to high efficiency, so what is a high efficiency dialysis? And then you go on to high flux, because it's just the difference you want. What is the difference between high efficiency and high flux? If you want to add in that the KUF ranges from 5 to 15 mLs per mm per mercury, right? Or the KUF generally, and any KUF above 9 mLs per hour, you could add in that. But this will just be fine. Dialysis, high flux efficiency dialysis uses a membrane that is more permeable to low and middle molecular weight solutes. The dialyzer has a high urea clearance, right? You can even add in that treatment times of 4 hours or less are generally used for this blood flow rates ranging from 300 to 500 ml per minute, and dialysate flow rates ranging from 500 to 1000 ml per minute, right? And then you can talk about high flux, where you will just be writing this. High flux dialysis uses a membrane permeable to a broad range of molecular weight solutes, right? They have the main difference explanation also right here. The main difference between high flux and high efficiency dialysis is the permeability of the membrane to larger solutes. Everybody with me here?
Yes, miss.
Yes.
Yes, miss.
So we have the KT over V, right? Where the Dr. Michael do the KTV with you all, and the URR result.
I don't remember hearing about that, no?
Okay, so I asked him to go through that. To find the URL where you have to the pre divided by the post multiplied by I think something with 1.2, but Dr. Michael will you see?
The
Both tests are done from blood work drawn pre and post KTV should be 1.2 or higher. So when you put the pre divided by the post, so let me do a calculation real quick.
The only formula he did with us is the BUN, the sodium,
Okay.
The osmolality, that's what he did.
Yeah. Okay, so when they talk about results of removal of urea are described as KTV, where the K is the dialyzer urea clearance, the T is the time of dialysis in minutes, and the V is the patient's blood volume in liters in which urea is distributed. Right? So the machine does usually calculate this, but you as a technician needs to know how to calculate it, and it is simply the free weight divided by the post weight. So when a patient comes in to dialysis, right? Let's say like me, I weigh 65 kg, right? So my pre-weight is 65. So I would just say my pre-weight is 65 kg, right? And when I finished dialyze, I took out 2. So my post weight is 62 kg. 63 kg, sorry. So 65 divided by 63 because it is the pre-weight divided by the post. So it came in at 65 and I left at 63. So 65 divided by 63 equals 1.03, right? The KTV should be 1.2 or higher, right? Which if I had a result of 1.0, well then I didn't have a good clearance. You all understand? Or just the formula, right? Just giving you all the formula. And that's why they talk about this.
That's why we need calculators in this exam.
Yeah.
Because if we have to calculate the osmolality by dividing and then adding and stuff like that, will we need it?
Yes. Yes, I feel that you all will need a calculator. I feel that you all will need a calculator. It would be a good idea to work with a calculator. Okay. So next up we're going through dialyzer design. So what are the 3 types of dialyzer? Someone could read it for me?
Sure. There are 3 basic dialyzer designs. Each design has the 2 necessary parts. Number 1, coil. The coil dialyzer designed in the 50s by Dr. Clough and fashioned after his original rotating drum dialyzer is not commonly used in the US today. Number 2, parallel plates. Parallel plates dialyzers contain 2 or more sheets of semi-permeable membranes sandwiched between support structures. 23.
I don't know where that 23
Number 3,
from,
hollow fiber the hollow fiber dialyzer contains thousands of hollow capillary membranes, tubes held in place at each end by the polyurethane and polycarbonate clay-like potting material. Sorry? Each hollow fiber is also as small as a strand of hair. The hollow fibers are potting materials are encased in a hard plastic cylinder.
Nice. So these are 3 types of dialyzer designs. So which one do you all think is the best?
The hollow fiber.
Nice. Yes, that's what they use now. Right?
Miss, excuse. That KTV, you can go back up on the KTV page for me, please. Right. So you say the formula is to your pre-weight and your post-weight. That is for that? Or is it for the total body weight thing? TBW.
That's for your URR, darling.
Pardon me?
That's to measure the URR.
The URR?
Yes.
Urea reduction rate.
Yeah, so basically that's why I said that Dr. Michael will go through it with you all on Saturday. I don't like to confuse students, right? Because what I will explain it and then Dr. Michael will still come and he will explain it over and I don't want you all to be confused. So it was just giving you all a brief explanation of it, that it is the pre-weight over the post-weight. Pre-weight divided by the post-weight. And if it's most likely supposed to be over 1.2, it shows a better clearance, right? But for now, when coming to the KTV, you see this part here, with the KTV, right? I would like you all to know what it is. What does KTV mean? So learn what the K means, what the T means, what the V means, right? So you know that the K is the dialyzer urea clearance in mLs per minute. You know that the T means the time of dialysis in minutes. And you know that the V means the patient blood volume in liters in which urea is distributed, right? And you know that KTV is the results of the removal of urea, right?
Yeah,
Has the urea
we
reduction.
understand that, but what I was what I think she was trying to say is if the pre-weight divided by the post-weight, if that is how you're getting the KTV.
Yes, which is the URL, yeah.
All right, nice, thanks.
Okay.
Miss, excuse, is it divided or minus in it?
Divide, right? So if I weigh 65 at the beginning of my treatment, right? If I weigh 65 at the beginning of my treatment and at the end of my treatment, I weigh 63, right? 65 divided by 63 is 1.03, right? So it is not higher than 1.2, which means I didn't get a good clearance.
Miss,
Yes.
hi. What was going on, right? I'm morning I took a patient to dialysis, but the patient was in a wheelchair. So they told me to put the patient on the scale. Actually, what scale she talking about? But when I watch on the go, the shape. I saw, and I see she calculated, she take the weight of the patient on the chair. And then when I remove the patient now, I see she take the chair and she weight the chair by itself.
Yeah,
Right?
so
But to find out the patient weight or something.
Yeah.
Yes. So you have
Mhm.
it have that where it have it have when you're taking the weight of a patient, that why we disturb patients try not to put on too much of clothes or when you come in for dialysis with the same thing because you want the weight as precise as possible due to the fact that you can pull too much. Let's just say I come into dialyze and I wearing on a big heavy jacket, right? So at the beginning of dialysis, normally I will weigh, let me say 40 kgs, right? But at the beginning of dialysis, when you weigh me, I weigh in 45. So it come like I put on 5 liters extra. But so you now are just saying setting me to pull 5 liters, right? This time the jacket alone is 2. Yeah, 2 kg, right? So that's 2 liters, right? So I already put on only 3, but you're gonna pull 5, and if you pull 5, then you're pulling too much, and you end up going
Too much.
hypo. You understand? And getting sick on the machine. So you have to wear the wheelchair because the wheelchair is a separate weight. So when you wear the patient with the wheelchair, then when you wear the wheelchair, you have to
You
minus the
manage.
wheelchair weight
Yeah.
from the weight
The
that you got
weight.
together with the
Yeah.
patient and the wheelchair to
Mm-hmm.
get the patient's weight,
Figure
which
the
is the weight
patient weight.
without the wheelchair.
Miss,
Yeah.
so let me ask a question. Is it that from the initial state of dialysis, they start wearing you and you weigh every day as you comes in for dialysis?
Yes, from any hospital because you must there's way once you start going renal clinic, right? They'll weigh you to see how much you weigh. Sometimes you have the person swell up with edema. So remember, when the person swell up, that's extra fluid.
That's
When you
fluids, yeah.
yeah, so sometimes your patient come in, swell up the face, swell up the belly, swell up the foot, swell up, and by the time they finish dialyze, you see the foot going down back to normal, the face going down back to normal, and when you weigh them, it's because you take off 2-3 kgs.
Right.
Yeah. So it'll be pulling the fluid. The fluid is what does make the extra weight. Plenty patients doesn't want to accept that, but it is like that, and they also think that you could just drink whatever and you could just pull it out, but it doesn't work like that because it have a certain amount that you could pull from a patient.
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, they could go hypo or they get sick. Although time is the limit, but you all will learn that. That's for the next set of exam where you will learn how to add in the pre to the amount of fluid that you get, and that's a whole set of calculations. So yeah, you need to know the patient's weight always.
All right.
At the beginning and at the end, because that's what is help calculate all your reactions and how much clearance that your patient got and stuff like that. Okay, so on to the next page. They have dialysate and composition. Anybody can tell me what is dialysate?
Miss, I can read it from the handout.
Yes.
Dialysate is a fluid that helps remove uremic waste products and excessive electrolytes such as urea, creatinine, sodium, and potassium from the patient's blood. Dialysate can also replace needed chemicals and help maintain the body's acid-base balance.
Nice. So that could be a question, right?
If you answer that short, you still get your marks, right? If you just put like dialysis is the fluid used in dialysis, you'll get your marks for that?
Mhm.
No. You have to say what it does do also, right? And now
Alright, so done.
it have two types of I'm looking for something here. Sodium in dialysate. This is important. You all did sodium, Madeline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Miss, I think I had that, yeah?
You all did sodium, Madeline. Well, I'm glad you all did sodium, Madeline. And seeing that we was on the topic back to dialyzers, right? You all spoke about first use syndrome. That would be in another handout.
I think we spoke about that with Dr. Leger.
Yes.
So anybody can tell me about first use syndrome? Is not in this handout, it is in our next handout. No, it is in this handout.
That's the symptoms that is get during the first
the first time
dialysis treatment. Yeah.
After beginning the dialysis treatment, first use.
Okay, so this is first use syndrome here, right? I have it up on the screen. Everybody, don't go looking. It is on the screen. This is on page 6 of the handout. So someone can tell me what is first use syndrome and what causes it?
Miss, I reading from the screen.
Nice.
First use syndrome is a group of symptoms that occur shortly after beginning dialysis with a new cellulose dialyzer that is insufficiently rinsed. Symptoms may include nervousness, chest pain, back pain, palpitation, or itching. First use syndrome may be caused by exposure to ethylene oxide gas or bits of cellulose remaining in the dialyzer after manufacturing. Reprocessing a cellulose dialyzer can also reduce the incidence of first use syndrome by removing ethylene oxide and cellulose bits. A coating of blood protein remaining in the dialyzer after dialysis. Also coating is removed by bleaching during reprocessing. So is Miss, so more or less this first use syndrome is like you're drinking from a dirty cup?
Yes.
I mean, it's the plate so.
But it's not actually. Yes, you could put it like that, but although it also is a new dialyzer, remember your blood passing through this, right? And you all haven't went through the complement system yet, but that is also where the complement system comes in. Your complement system is your immune system, right? That's coming into action. So that's why when you have first use syndrome, they'll get fever also, because your whole immune system coming in. And in the 40-page handout, when you all go through it, you will see that they sent you all the complement system. I want you all to read up on that, right? With the we're talking about the free radicals and stuff like that, right? So normally your complement system will activate when your blood leave your body and it touch any foreign object, any foreign surface. You understand? This system is activated, your complement system activated in your whole body, as a matter of fact, to fight off bacteria and these kind of things. So when your blood reaches this dialyzer, right, it's a foreign object, and then you just say your complement system down, right, or immune system weak. It's just like having an allergic reaction, right? Because you're not accustomed to this, so your body starts to react in all type of different ways, because your complement system starts to fight. It's like if your system fighting with the dialyzer, because it's not accustomed to that, and it's like an allergy. So yes, it's like drinking from a dirty cup, but remember
so what
I said that
in this case, you just leave it, you take off the dialyzer, or you leave, all right. You shut down the dialyzer.
We had a patient that went through a reaction to a dialyzer, and she whole face swell up on the machine. As within the first 5-10 minutes, 10 minutes didn't even go. Right, you have to return her. Well, the hospital they'll give them any adrenaline shot, antihistamine, stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
to help fight the reaction to the dialyzer. Yeah. So whatever they make the dialyzer from, you understand, whatever is in the membrane, as they said here, the ethylene oxide and the cellulose bits and stuff, the ethylene and the cellulose bits, this is stuff like you can say it remain in the dialyzer and the person have a
Mm-hmm.
reaction to it. Now it could remain in the dialyzer and a person don't have reaction to it. You know, that's just like how some people could eat shrimp and some people
Sure.
can't eat
Yeah.
shrimp.
Yeah.
You understand? So, but very rare it does happen. Right? Everybody understand first use syndrome. Please read up on it and learn it. And together with the first use syndrome, look up the complement system. It comes in handy.
The what system, Sarah?
In the 40-page handout that they send you all, they send the complement system. That's
Complement
why I
system.
said
The complement system, that was the word I was looking for. That's all.
complement, yeah, the complement system. It is in the handout.
I ain't putting that handout here. I got a handout
It was,
too.
but it's a compilation. To me, as I said before, the 40-page handout is a compilation of all the handouts that you all will have gotten for this in preparation for this next exam here.
Okay. So with the
Right?
water and the
It's together,
dialysis
yeah.
and the all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the same water handout that I read for you all is
You're
the
ready.
same handout
Okay.
that you all got, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the 40-page handout. You know what I was supposed to say. So we went through high efficiency, the difference between high efficiency and high flux dialysis, right? So let us go through osmosis. What is osmosis?
Osmosis is the movement of fluid across a semi-permeable membrane from an area of lower concentration to an area of higher concentration.
Nice. Everybody understand what osmosis is? Yes, is that, but everybody understand what osmosis is. You all know what's the difference between low concentration and high concentration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess I have one student in the
Yes,
class.
Miss I answer, eh?
Yes, Kiliran, you're the second person in the class with the semi-permeable membrane. Disequilibrium syndrome, I am looking for that. Did you all? Yes. Right. Do you all know what is this? I remember I was speaking to you all about disequilibrium syndrome, and I was talking about my patient that got it. You all know how disequilibrium syndrome happens? Did you all, the Dr. Deja and Dr. Michael tell you all about disequilibrium syndrome?
No, first time I hear this. But I
Okay,
know
so
what is the equilibrium.
it's just, as I said, disequilibrium means out of balance. You understand? Disequilibrium syndrome is a dialysis complication that occurs when blood levels of urea shift rapidly, causing fluid to be drawn into the brain. The syndrome occurs most often in the first few dialysis treatments when nitrogen levels in the blood are highest. Symptoms of disequilibrium include confusion, tremors, hypotension, headaches, and seizures. Now, yes, it happens in it most often happens in the first few dialysis treatments, but it happens in patients that have been dialyzing a while too, and if they haven't been dialyzing properly, right? So let me try to explain this as easy as possible. What happens is when you are dialyzing, right? Remember, you're pulling blood from, you see, the lower part of your body because it's from your hand or your neck, right? And
Mhm.
when this fluid, let us just say it moves too fast, so you're pulling the patients too fast, you're pulling the fluid from them too fast. Remember, you're pulling the blood out of the body, leaving a certain amount to the head because you're not pulling it directly from the head, right? And remember, you have to wait for the blood to come from your head down to your body in order to go to the machine, right?
Mhm.
Good. So what happens is the extra fluid in your brain, it makes that imbalance. So now it's like the patient, they don't know themselves, right? We had a patient, he was on the machine, hook up, right? And he started to say, which part I is? Get me out of here. They're killing me, you know? And when we watch and we realize his eyes open wide, we're trying to get him to settle on the chair. He wants to pull out his catheter from his chest, right? It just be very horrible, right? Because the fluid in the brain and it's like it just playing with the mind, right? It just play with your mind because you're not getting the fluid to pull as fast as you're getting the fluid in the body to pull. You're not getting the fluid in the brain to pull as fast as in the body. That's the best simplest way I can explain it to you all. But it have a whole big science behind it with the spine, the spinal fluid and running down the spine and stuff like that. But it's the same thing. So look up disequilibrium syndrome because it will be very important to look up disequilibrium syndrome. So you all read about bicarbonate based dialysis.
Mhm.
Yes, miss.
So can somebody no, that's not this handout, right?
Miss, I have it right down in a book, but not from the handout.
Yeah.
A dicey base components, yeah. Um, the acid, the base and the
It has
Bicarbonate.
carbonate.
A and the B.
How is
Concentrate A
bicarbonate?
and concentrate B.
Yeah.
Right, so that's bicarbonate, right? You will somebody could tell me what's the basis of bicarbonate dialysis?
Miss, sodium bicarbonate and some, wait,
It's
yeah,
sodium,
sodium
chloride.
chloride. Sorry, miss. Yeah, sodium and chloride. Some sodium chloride.
Yeah. And hydrochloride.
Miss, I could read minds on it.
Yes.
Okay, bicarbonate dialysis is prepared by mixing treated water with acid and bicarbonate concentrate. Because calcium and magnesium do not remain in the solution with bicarbonate due to low hydrogen ion content, therefore two separate concentrates are used. Separation methods range from manual mixing in smaller units to automated mixing in larger facilities or using prefill packages. The A concentrate contains most of the sodium, calcium, magnesium, potassium chloride, and lactic acid. I really know that word. The B concentrate contains sodium bicarbonate and sometimes sodium chloride. Liquid B concentrate is unstable, so manufacturers add stabilizers or provide it as a powder. Either mixing the bicarbonate and cause carbon dioxide loss, increasing pH, and participating calcium and magnesium carbonate, potentially lowering serum calcium in patients. Maintaining hygiene and using concentrates correctly within manufacturer guidelines is crucial to prevent contamination and ensure proper diet separation. That's what I have for that.
Nice. So that's the difference between the A and B concentrates.
Must I just have the three components of dialysate, which is the dialysis water, which is highly treated water, highly treated pure water from the arrow, the acid concentrate, sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, chlorine, and glucose, and the base component, which is the acetate and the sodium bicarbonate.
Well, once you have them, I don't disagree.
I find it simpler, it's easier, so I just put it in that way, and then I have the dialysis water, which has first filtration, remove as many dissolved and undissolved substances, then the ion exchanger, exchange magnesium and calcium with sodium, and then the reverse osmosis. And that equal to the dialysis water, which is ultra pure water used for hemodialysis treatment.
Yes, but that's dialysis water, but what about we're talking about the bicarbonate mix.
I have that somewhere here too. The bicarbonate mix, right? I have dry bicarbonate concentrates in bags and cartridges.
Nice.
Bicarbonate is the most important physiological buffer substance. The average standard value for healthy people is around 24 mmol per liter. The dialysis solution usually contains 32 mmol per liter bicarbonate. The goal is correction of acidosis at the end of dialysis. And depending on the concentration gradient, bicarbonate diffuses from the dialysis solution into the patient's blood from the start of dialysis to correct the metabolic acidosis.
In the handout, the 40-page handout that they sent you all, yes, they sent over everything. You'll get what chemicals are in bicarbonate concentrates. You'll get that on page 31. And how is bicarbonate-based dialysis? Prepared calcium and magnesium will not remain in a solution with bicarbonate because of the low of hydrogen ion content. To solve this, two separate concentrates are used, and the proportion in delivery system is more complex since it must mix and monitor 3 liquids instead of only 2. Okay, look up that. So we did first use syndrome. Somebody could tell me the topics.
Wait, before you move on, so it's just the sodium bicarbonate and the sodium chloride.
Chloride, yes. For bicarbonate.
Okay,
that is for bicarbonate.
The bicarbonate mix.
Yes. But for
Thank you.
For the acetate dialysate, the chemicals used for acetate dialysate are sodium chloride, sodium bicarbonate, or sodium acetate, calcium chloride, potassium chloride, and magnesium chloride. Glucose may be included in some formulations. It is in the handout on page 30. So at page 30 and 31, with the composition of dialysate, it's the composition of dialysate, read page 30 and 31, right? And it will clarify you on the bicarbonate mixing of the A and B concentrate. I'm trying to cut down this because I know it has so much and you all feel so pressured and confused.
Miss Enter does hardly use the acetate concentrate.
Yes. No, they still use it, but it have advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah, I seen that it have vomit and headache and thing and that's nausea and all that.
So it's using acetate as a buffer, you understand? So you all and everybody know what is you all know the definition for acid, base, pH, buffer, atom, ion, solute, what is conductivity, disequilibrium syndrome, first use syndrome. What is a semi-permeable membrane? You all have to know the entire hemo. Anybody want to try to explain the hemodialysis process?
I started reading it, may I finish?
Okay.
What's a lot?
Yeah. So anybody have any questions?
No, miss.
Yes, so everybody understand the handouts. I would like more students to read the handouts, seeing that we only had like 15 students read their handouts. I would encourage you guys to read it out. Right? If you all wasn't reading the handouts all the time, go through the 40-page handout. That is everything that you need to know for to be prepared for this exam that is coming up here.
Miss, the
Okay,
same
miss.
two same. Well, it
Excuse?
looks like the same two principle of dialysis too. Which one is it?
The same two?
Two handouts. Two of the same handouts, principle of renal dialysis too.
Let's read
One started from 3 and one started from 1.
I assume it should be twice one. The last one the same.
I just real confused. Because to me, this is no, I don't know. I know I saw students and I feel confused. Everybody who confused raise the hand because I know it's like real plenty for you guys. But you know you have to still keep trying to and be pushing. I don't think that I was so confused when I was going to class. Yes, so I feel it for all you guys, right? Because it's just a whole lot to deal with.
Miss, they sent the 40 something pages. One of them just mark revised. So
Okay, so the one that Mark revised, read that, which means that would be the one that you should use. Yes, so you should use the one that Mark revised. Yeah, so that's why I'm trying to do like the topics, like pick topics that you all could put everything together
Mhm.
because it's so much in this exam.
So it's just that one essay might be getting, right?
Yeah, no, because it still has the hemodialysis process. It's not just the water system, it has the hemodialysis process that you all went through. It have the advantages and disadvantages of the acetate. It have how bicarbonate is mixed, how bicarbonate is prepared. Then we talk about the first use syndrome. We talk about disequilibrium, right? It have the complement system. Yeah.
Or those could come in essay.
Well, yeah, it could come an essay form because it's explanations, right? So I would say all those is explaining questions where you have things to speak about.
All right.
So it's
Yeah.
topics.
Hi, quick question. Anything coming with potassium?
Yes, it will
Um,
come once Dr. Michael teaches.
okay, so I was looking at something here on pertaining to nebulizer and albuterol. So if a patient is using it, albuterol, and they use it 30 minutes,
It decreases potassium in the blood or
yes.
something.
So yes, it does. But say that the patient is having an attack and the patient has to use the albuterol. What is the position there?
Okay, so but albuterol is more like to prevent spasms in the lungs.
Because of beta.
Right?
Blocker.
So they could use it, but if it's according to what caused the attack, If it's in that case where the patient is on dialysis.
But then, Miss, if it's an asthma attack, then you don't really have to use the albuterol. You could just use the Ventolin for the meanwhile. But it does normally use the Ventolin and the salbuterol and the next one. There's usually two as a prophylaxis kind of thing. But I don't think if they get an asthma attack while being dialyzed, you don't
Yeah,
want to add potassium.
they wouldn't use the albuterol.
You could use the the other one.
They'll use that. But that's a pressure.
No.
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 Atropine.
They just use the Ventolin and the Atrovent.
Okay,
For
I was
asthma.
thinking about.
For
Okay, let's use
asthma.
the atropine. You're talking about the atropine, right?
No.
I know there's use atropine also for something with the lungs. But if a
Right.
patient
So
gets
the
an attack
atropine.
during dialysis that doesn't really use anything. If it's a heart problem, they will have the medications on for like the heart tablets and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a lungs problem, majority of the time I saying what I will see happening. If a patient come in and they feel like they get an attack, majority of the time is because the fluid overload. So the nurse will be like, a fluid overload, so that's what causing the attack, and the majority of the times is because it's really fluid what enter into the lungs, and this person look at they're gasping for breath, they can't catch
Mm-hmm.
themselves,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing to do is to get them dialyzed. But sometimes if the SpO2 low, right, the oxygen levels really low, sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
a risk to put them on the machine.
Mm-hmm. So you had to correct that
So
first.
then, yes. So we had a patient. He came in and we was really going to put on the machine, right? Because he came in so like he came in so short breathing and gasping for breath, right? And when we checked his SpO2, it was 43. We cannot put a patient on a machine with his SpO2 43. You understand? Because the oxygen level is just decreasing and he was on oxygen and it still wasn't working. So in those kind of cases, hospital had to take it, and that's where the yeah. And then I think that they ended up tapping the patient.
They ended up doing what?
What do you think happened? They carried him in the hospital. When they carried him in the hospital, he was fluid overload and they had to tap him.
Yeah, well, he need positive pressure, yeah.
But he died the next day.
Yep.
So it does be tough because it doesn't be able to judge whether it is a heart attack and they should use the albuterol and stuff like that. Rather, I understand why it doesn't just use it, or it will not be recommended to use it.
Yes, because I was reading it on the handout, so I wanted to find out a little more about it.
Yeah. And you can also to pertaining to potassium and you all I hope you all read up sodium modeling. With potassium, I think it does have a shift. A shift where is when one something comes out, two potassium goes in, and that's what does the race of the heart. But it's have a formula for it also. That's how I learned it.
Miss, you see you see it have a handout with a set of questions in the end?
No. Which handout is that? The amount of handouts that it have.
No,
it's very
the 40
confusing.
page
So when
one.
you're talking about which one? The 40-page one?
Yeah, it has like a couple questions.
Right, what page is that?
Not a couple, like 38. I wrote down.
What?
Yeah.
In the 40-page handout?
On page
I don't know,
what?
I can't remember.
I am right now. I am going through the 40-page handout, right?
Let me see.
I ain't seeing no questions as yet, and I reach page 20. I see in the questions together with the and like what is conductivity? Conductivity is the property of a solution to conduct an electric current. I seen those questions where it have answers. What is pH?
The first question is what is an atom? Then what is a compound? Right.
This is just now I was telling you guys. I said I hope you all read up that handout with because you all need to know the meaning of an atom, a compound, a molecule. And anyone heard me just now when I was telling you guys that? I was just mentioning that yes, the 40-page handout has it, but also the dialysate 1 and 2 handout has it also. So that's what I was talking about. And I said you all need to learn those definitions.
Yes, 38. 38 I got when I write them out.
Yes, but you know you wouldn't write out the whole thing is and for them questions is short answers like what is an atom? An atom is the smallest particle of an element that retains the properties of that element. That is all. Right? What is a compound? Yeah, answer she is there. Look, she calling my phone. What is a compound? A compound is a chemical combination of elements. The proportion of elements is fixed for each compound. You don't even have to write them 2 sentences. You could just use the first sentence. Because what is a compound? A compound is a chemical combination of elements. What is a molecule? A molecule is the smallest unit of a substance that retains its chemical properties. What is an ion? An ion is a particle that has an electric charge. It may be a charged atom such as sodium ion or charged compound such as lactate ion. So when coming to the don't get frightened, it's just a matter of dissecting your work. So don't get frightened because you see all the explanation. I just say the explanations is for you to understand more. But once you get the grasp of the basic concept and the basic meaning of it, you could use that. Everybody with me with that?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
But anybody else have any other questions? Don't forget to look at the advantages and the disadvantages of the use of acetate as a buffer.
Yes, miss.
Is anybody else have any questions?
No, miss.
Miss,
Okay.
advantages and disadvantages of what?
Acetate.
Acetate, using acetate of a buffer. That's like one of the advantages of using an acetate concentrate. The acetate concentrate is stable during the storage and is not prone to bacterial contamination, right? And also a wide variety of formulation is available, and the delivery systems are simpler and less costly than those needed to prepare bicarbonate dialysates, right? So yes, the so I will say to use the 40-page handout with all the handouts combined so you can get everything in an order.
And another question, quick question. Hypotonic and isotonic and hypotonic. We need to learn this too, right?
Yeah, but you know, yes. Let's and for the ones who can't remember, hyper is high, hypo is low, and iso is equal. Just to try to make it easy for you to remember. So remember that hyper is high, hypo is low, iso is balanced. So this exam depends on how much you read your handout. Because as you all can see, there's a lot of definitions, and you know when there's a lot of definitions, there's a lot of explanations. Because I can help, but there's only so much I could do, right? I need you all to read those handouts in order to grasp the concept of everything. Because then you'll just be moving forward and not understanding what's going on.
But sometimes you just take a less small read, you know. It's not to say as how I go recommend it, don't overload your brain. Take a small read and think about it, question it, think about it. It helps me. Like how it is I starting to retain. Understand? Think. So don't think about it as Dr. Michael say, question yourself. You know, and look.
Yeah, so long. There's have everybody have phone these days. Try talking to your AI if you do understand something. When you're reading, you know, and you bounce up a word. If you can't say the word or you can't don't understand the word, just go on Google and type it up, and then so they'll tell you how to say the word. Talk to your AI on your phone and spell out the word for AI, if it's just you and the AI and have nobody there to help you, and you could help with pronunciation of the word.
Miss
Even if you go to the
sometimes
chat GPT.
Yeah.
Chat GPT.
Yeah, sometimes sometimes it a little too accurate, sometimes it just be scary, but the AI
No,
does
yes,
help.
the AI does help, but yes, that is the truth. You just get extra information, so it doesn't want to be confused.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yes,
And if
it
you don't
does.
remember, it will break it down for you even more simpler. And the one
Yes.
breaking it down.
Yes, that is,
Indeed.
yes, it does. It does, Stephanie. You're talking real good info there. It does. ChatGPT does do everything, everything for you, right? Also, like if you don't know how to use ChatGPT, it's just chatgpt.org or .com, right? Just go in and Google and type up ChatGPT. GPT, G as in goat, P as in pig, and T as in tail, right? ChatGPT. And if you don't know about ChatGPT, again, problems to pronounce words, remember that Merriam-Webster dictionary that the school told you all you have to buy? It is on the internet for free. So you can just type it into Google, go to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, right? And go to the site, and whatever word you're looking for, type it up and just press the speaker next to the word, and it just tell you tell you what the word is.
How to pronounce the word.
That's what I just do.
Miss the dictionary for $900.
Yes. The dictionary, the Merriam dictionary, was for $900. Is free on Google.
I buy that dictionary. I want to sell it.
No, so you didn't know that?
No.
No, I didn't know that.
By the way, I didn't buy mine because I never had money at that point in time. No, I was glad I didn't have no money to buy no books. Because
No,
the
I
price
didn't.
of them books.
I didn't think, but I have a lot of medical dictionaries home, and I shouldn't have buy this.
Oh yeah,
I don't
because
know.
it's the same thing.
It
And it
is.
have there is actually some more informative medical dictionaries than the
Yep.
Merriam-Webster.
Yep.
And I'm talking correct, right?
Yes.
Because I saw some more informed medical dictionaries. But the Merriam-Webster is easy to use. So I believe that's why they are using it.
I'll sell
But
it
you
back
can
to
get it
the
on
school
Google
half
for free.
price.
Good thing I paid $60 for mine.
I think I see one of the dictionaries in a bookstore for $90.
You see? And one of my friends, when I was going to class, she bought her hemodialysis book, the Judith Kallenbach, online, and another girl bought it up Mount Hope. She told me she saw it selling in a bookshop. I don't know how true it was, but it was cheaper than the school. Or you're the ones that didn't buy it as yet, and you're just using the online, you all could go right down High Street and get it printed for $175.
Yeah, miss, I got mine prints out for way less than how much they were selling it for in school.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. And again, a nice hardcover with it too, like a real book.
I saw the same Merriam-Webster dictionary in Charon's in the mall, but the revised edition for $90.
You see? Well, I get it for
I
free on Google, so I will
stop
tell
talking
everybody
about
to
that.
spend all
Right
their
now, I'm
money.
getting mad.
Sorry, Miss Vanjali, you didn't know nothing about it.
Sell it back for half price.
Right now, I'm getting crazy.
No sunscreen for tonight's class.
Excuse?
Is that all for tonight's class?
Yes, that's all. Unless you all have any questions, I was just trying to give ways for the students that not getting the reading well and the understanding of the pronunciation of words and the spelling of words. So I was just trying to give tips on where you could go to get help if you know you're feeling like you don't understand how to spell a word or say a word or something like that. It have Chat GPT and it also has the Merriam-Webster dictionary online. That's why I was explaining.
Miss, I think it's good information because to me, I just had to do everything on the phone and on the tablet. And I think if I have it in front of me in a paper, it will be much easier.
Yeah, I
know?
like hard copy.
Yeah, it is well for sure.
I am the type of person you can also read and write it.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
to, my book on them does be markup. Right now, all them page on them write up. So that's why I just had rather the hard copy than to be on the phone with the
Yeah,
thing.
it is good to read and make notes.
Yeah.
And everybody have different learning capabilities, right? So some persons will be able to read and remember, some persons need to read and write. I am also that type of person that
I have to read and write.
I can do both. I could read and remember, or I could read once I read and write something, that's the end of it there. I could tell
Yeah,
it
I
over
have
the
to
whole
read and
thing
write.
from beginning to the end. I have that memory. Miss Prince, you do some great essays, right? And just how you do your essays with full detail, I like students to do the essays like that also for exams. So if you know that you shorten your essays or anything like that, please don't always get
All right.
frightened when coming to exam or something.
I do.
Don't. There's no need to get frightened when coming to exam.
I do. That's always been my problem. I would have the work and then what has happened is I just get blank. I just get blank. I
Don't.
just went blank
Just
one
relax.
time.
As I said, I told Dr. Michael to give you all 4 hours. He gave you all the 4 hours. Use it.
Yeah.
You didn't have 4 hours. 4 hours to write an exam, to work out the exam at the first 2 hours.
No. Me ain't coming out it 2 hours.
Okay, great. So everyone, have a blessed night. If you need any help, message me.
Same to you.
Contact me.
Thank you.
Same to you, miss. Thank you, miss.
Thank
Don't
you.
forget the topics. You all want me to message back the topics in the group?
I wrote it
Yes,
down.
please. Yes, miss. Yes, please.
Okay, so I'm doing it right now. Okay, no
All
problem.
right.